So now we know that these governing bodies do not allow the government to interfere into the management of the football. Despite the government spending all those colossal sums of money, sponsoring players, paying for their hotels, paying for the air tickets, all those issues, finding them a coach and ABC, building them good and modern infrastructures, they are not allowed to interfere with the management of football. Once they interfere, FIFA will come in and they will give them sanctions. So now your question was, why can't we look at where the government and FIFA should sit down and decide on how they can be punishing people who are involving themselves
in the mismanagement,
of football, which is the mismanagement of resources.
Yes.
Thank you. I think your question is answered.
Welcome to yet another episode of On the Spot, where we get to discuss issues that are at hand and have been making headlines across the region, and of course, terms of politics, security, even other matters that concern the region or even the globe at the center of it all. My name is Bright Bashir, and always in this business called TR Bright. Like always, I'm always having a gentleman that has an epitome of wisdom who we are gonna be introducing later on as we continue to discuss issues in the region. I know most of you are already thinking about M23. We shall come to that. How about we first celebrate the amazing things that have happened in the country, particularly in Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and across the entire East African region that we're going to be bringing you. Well, surprising enough, in Uganda, they have a new presidential advisor, Eddie Kenzo, special presidential advisor to the creatives. And down in Kigali, good enough, the basketball women were doing great until they met Great Britain and Senegal. Amazing, but we are yet to talk about that later. And of course, the amazing Azam traveled all the way to be humiliated in Kigali. Yeah, we haven't had any update from the Gen Zs, but more is coming up from the port of Mombasa. Something that has been happening over the time. We have had more and more people complain about their cargo being opened at the port of Mombasa. We're here to discuss all these other issues, but this is not what has brought us here today. We are discussing political matters and issues at hand on the spot. I have Innocent with me. Welcome on the show, Innocent.
Thank you, T. Bright.
Yes.
Thank you for welcoming back on the show this afternoon in Kigali, Rwanda. As you have said, last night we had an interesting time in Kigali where Azam FC of Tanzania was wired to Niyo by APR FC. Proud of
the
our
army
team.
side, huh?
The army side, yeah. So actually, congratulations to the founder, the president, retired General James Kabarebe, and the president, General Muganga. I'm sure today they must be very happy men to see that victory, the victory for all Rwandans.
Interesting.
Yes.
Indeed, it was the Amahoro Stadium. We're going to talk about, now you've just reminded me, I didn't want to discuss football, but let's begin with an issue of what was happening with the generator at the Kigali Pele Stadium.
Thank you so much. Actually, it's something that is I would call crazy. You know, the championship started in Rwanda, the local league. So last week we were supposed to have a match between Rayon Sport and Amagaju of Nyamagabe district. So the match was supposed to be on the 23rd of August. That was a Friday in the evening. Unfortunately, on the 22nd of August, the seat of Kigali administration announced, the newly seat just sworn in, announced that they are not going to hold evening matches at the Pere Kigali Stadium because the generator which was there is not able to light the entire stadium. And they would be able to start using that stadium in the evenings in the next 3 months after purchasing a new generator. So as usual, His Excellency saw that, and he had to write on Twitter, and his Twitter account, President Kagame, responded that no, this is not supposed to have happened. It should have been avoided. And the people went on the debate. People started debating about it on social media. You know, Rwandans and social media. Once the boss comments on Twitter, that means people are very happy and excited. They started commenting, and the city of Kigali, surprisingly, overnight, they had to produce a brand new generator. A generator that was supposed to come in 3 months, it only came overnight. I don't know if it came from heaven. I don't know if it came from where, but they had to produce it. So sometimes it's also the irresponsibility of some of our leaders, like those in the city of Kigali administration. I think they didn't pay much attention to that. So if they can produce a generator in 24 hours, which was supposed to be produced in 90 days, that means a lot. That means that we should wait for His Excellency to say something. That's when an action is taken, which is not the right thing.
Should we say then that our administrators are those who want a chain around their neck to produce results for the people?
That's what it means. That's what they're producing to the entire society. Yes.
Would you agree with me that maybe if the international governing bodies of the sports federations allowed governments to maybe hold accountable some of the local associations, they would give us better?
Exactly, because some of them are reluctant because they know they are protected by some of these international governing bodies of football like CAF, FIFA. So they do not take certain actions because they are very sure that once the government tries to question them, to investigate them, the international football governing body will intervene. I think that's why they become reluctant. Like you have seen, let's take an example of the leadership of FERWAFA, the football governing board of Rwanda. In the past maybe 5 years, they have had about 3 to 4 presidents. We had the Gori. The Gori was there, and a lot of issues were raised about misuse of funds coming from FIFA, funds coming from the government.
So at that time we had the issue of the hotel.
The hotel, which was not building. So all those issues were raised until he came out of office. It was taken by Mr. Sekamana, a retired officer. He was also there. And then also a lot was said about him. I don't know what really transpired for him to come out so premature. And we had Olivier coming in. He was also there. He tried to build things here and there. Things didn't work. He came out. Now we have Munyenwa Alphonse. So that's the fourth one from the God. Then we had the Sekamana. We had Olivier. Now we had the Munyenwa Alphonse. That's the fourth one. So you can imagine it's about in the 5 years, 4 of them. That means at least one per year, which is unusual in other countries for one to rule a board of football like FERWAFA, a big board of football like that one for 1 year. Because 1 year alone, a person is settling, trying to understand the system,
systems, yes.
how it works,
yes.
Trying to know who to work with, trying to look for sponsors. So if he goes out just after a year, it means his first efforts he made are wasted. Another person will come and also waste efforts. So 4 people have wasted 4 years. Instead of putting one person in the place to build things and put things right the way they are supposed to be. Yes. That's why maybe you find them we are not qualifying. Because every year they are changing things. They are changing coaches. They are changing administration. So we cannot even build a strong national team. Thank you.
So before we came on air, there's something very key that you are talking about, especially with how can we align the political wing with the technical wings to actually administer the kind of sports federations that we want in Rwanda. We have seen, you actually explained to me something that caught my eye. I never saw it this way. Government has put infrastructure together.
Yes.
They have put the monies together, those that they can. Why do we still see the bickering? I'll give you a case in point. We are not talking about football alone here. We talk about the 2021 saga of golf.
Yes.
The golf course in Kigali.
Yes.
After the president visited the North African nation and came back, 2017, I think he questioned some people. It's like, can we have a standard golf course here? Everyone agreed. RDB as at the forefront. In 2018, they got, I think it was a German international contractor, and then Gali player, the South African golfer, to actually design the course. And when they were still doing that, half of the course was banned. Later we see mismanagement in the golf club building. Now that is one. Number two, we saw yesterday, a few weeks ago, half of the Olympic team of Rwanda did not qualify from Rwanda. That is the Olympics. We go to the game of basketball, which we also thought was an organized game, because this time around we have structures, we have everything. Then all of a sudden we have people who are complaining that the national team is selected unfairly. Then what happened to our systems? What happened to the Jimmy Gatete days? The question would be.
Okay, let me answer your question in 3 sections. The first section, will talk about transparency. The second section will talk about responsibility. The fourth session will talk about remedies. Okay? So, like you said, the government, I think we have nothing to ask the government. Because the government has put in place what is required to do, what is asked to do. The government builds the infrastructure. That's why you see Kigali BK Arena. That's why you see Amahoro National Stadium. That's why you see the golf course in Nyarutarama, the new one. That's why you see that, you know, that green belt where we run away. You see that one. You see Club Rafiki. All those are infrastructures built by the government from the taxpayers' money. So that is the government side. Number two, when the government is sending players of any discipline abroad to participate in a certain championship, say if they're going to participate in qualification for football, looking for the ticket to go for CAF, Africa Cup of Nations, or World Cup of Nations, if it is for basketball, anything, the government sponsors those players, specifically players. They pay them the allowances, daily allowances, winning bonuses, they pay the hotels, the air tickets, all those issues. That's another responsibility that the government does. Okay? If they are happening right here, they are hosting, the Rwandan government hosting a foreign team coming here, it's the same way. The Rwandan players will be taken care of. They will be kept in a hotel, the trainings, the food, the allowances. If they winning abroad, it's the same thing. So on that one, you cannot blame the government on anything, because the government has fulfilled its responsibilities. Okay? Now let's come to the side of these governing bodies. That's why I said now answer your question in 3 sections. So part 1 was about the government, which I've explained. So governing bodies, we have FERWASI governing these cyclists and these other Olympic games. We have FERWAFA governing football. We have also other bodies, FERWABA and ABCD, governing basketball. Those are examples of some of the bodies. So the body, let's look at maybe FERWAFA. Even FERWASI is the same. They are responsible of recruiting the coach, the technical bench, all right? The same body is responsible of selection of the players to represent
the
nation, to also participate in the games that are there to be played. If we are looking at qualification, women's World Cup basketball pre-qualification taking place in Rwanda, it's the coach that will select the players that will participate in those games. If we are looking at a football match between Rwanda, maybe and Brazil or France or Zambia or South Africa, Bafana, it's the coach and the technical bench who are going to select the football players to participate in that game. It's not the Minister of Sports who is going to come and select those players. It's not His Excellency who is going to come and select those players. You understand? So when we have a wrong selection of players, let's say we select players that are not active, players that are not good at playing. You know, sometimes they also look at how many games has a player played in a season for his club. That they consider that. So sometimes a minister is a politician. Minister of sports is a politician.
I understand.
He's busy in politics. He's busy trying to think and create policies.
How relevant does she keep or he keep?
He's going to produce policies and politics that are going actually to favor those players, to favor these games, to favor the building of this infrastructure and other things, to look for sponsors that will sponsor our players. So if they choose wrong players, that is why I said a section of responsibility, it's a responsibility of the coach and the technical players. That means that they were not responsible.
Interesting.
Once we identify that they chose the wrong players, that is the responsibility of the body, either Ferwafa, Ferwasi, Ferwabe, all those issues. Number two, transparency. Sometimes you can choose a player on merit. You choose a player, that's what I believe as an analyst. I believe that you choose a player that has the capacity to perform. So there are certain criteria that you have to follow as you are choosing a player. One, a player must be having enough playing time at his club where he's playing. He must be an active player, not someone who's kept on the bench. So that's one of the things you can look at. Active, in the form, he's been playing for the club, he's been scoring, he's been defending, he's a good goalkeeper. Those are some of the things that they look at. So if there's no transparency, it's that way when a coach and the technical bench, they are going to choose someone who has been sitting on the bench. And the rumor has it that sometimes these players sitting on the bench, some of these agents, you know, we have agents selling the players to European clubs and Asian clubs. So once they have the opportunity to have that player advertised so they can find a club to buy him, that's when they'll now influence the coach to use that player. That's why sometimes you see a player who has been sitting on the bench of a club like Police FC or Rayon Sport or Mukura, he's not even known. If you come and find him in the national team.
Interesting.
That's why the issue of transparency comes in.
It's like a test game for them.
Yes, not only testing, but they're also trying to find some videos to go and show to those clubs to develop interest, to say, look, we have this player, Innocent Abumugisha. He's a good striker. He's plays for Rwandan national team. So some of these clubs, some of these small clubs in Asia, Saudi Arabia, they don't even know where Rwanda is. They don't even know what is Amavubi. They'll just look at the video and say, okay, bring him. So the agent gets his money. He doesn't care about the pride of the Rwandan people. That's the second party, the transparency. The third party is about now the remedy. And I think that's why the answer for your question will come in. So now we know that these governing bodies do not allow the government to interfere into the management of the football. Despite the government spending all those colossal sums of money, sponsoring players, paying for their hotels, paying for the air tickets, all those issues, finding them a coach and ABC, building them good and modern infrastructures, they are not allowed to interfere with the management of football. Once they interfere, FIFA will come in and they will give them sanctions. So now your question was, why can't we look at where the government and FIFA should sit down and decide on how they can be punishing people who are involving themselves
in the
mismanagement of football, which is the mismanagement of resources.
Yes.
Thank you. I think your question is answered.
So that means there is actually, we can find a ground route whereby the governing, but because I saw at the pre-Olympic Games, the president was really, His Excellency Paul Kagame was welcomed well. He was recognized at FIFA and these entire games. He's been making rounds at these places. So my thinking is, then government should use the advantage of the president being a lobbyist for this, to actually get these people to sit down and get a way to solve these issues. Because one of the things that has been concerning, especially the Rwandans, and the Rwandans in the diaspora and everyone, and I think this is a big issue, because, and I think it needs to be looked into, because when you go to other countries, there is what we call the post-primary games. Then after the post-primary games, we have the inter-university games. After the inter-university games, you have the regional games, which is the East African University or post-primary games. Where did this culture die in Rwanda? Because you remember, early last year when we had a radio interview with the president, and they were taking calls, a child called from the West.
Yes, and that's about him, how they can promote
exactly
football in schools or something. I remember. I think I remember.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
My question then would be, Innocent, before we get FIFA to sit with Ferwafa and the government to find a way the government can actually be allowed to handle some of these things, especially with the transparency and the management of resources, how can we as a people, as a nation, and as a region bring back the culture of post-primary, of local competitions, which can be a way for coaches that we hire from outside Rwanda see local talent before we are duped with people who want content to show the agents?
I think that one, I don't even think bring such games or such competitions would require the coming in of FIFA or CAF. That is the responsibility of maybe 2 or 3 ministers. The Minister of Education, Minister of Youth, and the Minister of Sports. Why do I come back to these 3? Because Minister of Education is the ministry responsible for these primary and secondary schools, where those youngsters who are going to be participating in these competitions will come from. Minister of Sports is the ministry in charge of sports, of any sports discipline in the country. So once they put together the efforts, they will succeed. Now, Minister of Youth, why I came back to the Minister of Youth is because even these youngsters in primary schools and secondary schools,
they are
still young, they fall under that rocket.
Yes.
So it's not the question of waiting for His Excellency to come and tell them to say, can you start these competitions? It's not the question of asking FIFA or CAF to come and remind them. The only thing maybe they can do, once they come up with a plan, the concept note and everything, they can easily invite CAF, they can invite Ferwafa, Ferwasi, Ferwaba, all these bodies governing sports in Rwanda, probably with CAF, so that they come in as technicians to come and advise them, technical advice on how these competitions can be handled, how can they can be carried. Then from there, they will now look at the budgets after understanding the technical issue. Then those competitions can come back. I think it's an easy thing that's a very easy thing that they can do. They don't need anyone from outside to come and design that for them. Number 2, when you talk about His Excellency being a lobbyist, I agree with you. Because we have seen even after his elections, he visited the president of FIFA. And then we have also seen him participating into the official opening of Pele Stadium, where he even played football, you remember? With these big names in football, including the FIFA and CAF presidents who are also playing football there. That is an advantage. That is a big opportunity to Ferwafa, to the Rwandan people, to the Rwandan national team of Amavubi. I don't think if I was a coach, if I was near the national team, allowing His Excellency to play football, to raise the national team's name, visibility, that is raising your visibility, you can fail to qualify or you can fail to perform.
At least they owe him that.
They owe him something that is bigger than what they think.
Interesting.
Because actually what he did, starting from the Minister of Sports, going to Ferwafa, going to Amavubi national team, they owe the president something big because he raised the visibility of them, because the whole world saw him in the football pitch playing football in a new stadium. That is to tell the world that we are improving our infrastructure. We are building
that even the president can come and play.
Can come and play. Another thing is sending a message to FIFA, the international governing body, to CAF, the governing body, is sending them a message that my government, my politics also support football. They favor football. Come and see. That's what it means.
Interesting way of looking at things. I think Innocent right now just helped us understand what we need to do as a nation. The nation of Rwanda in the region itself, apart from being a participant as a another Commonwealth country, an Olympiad country, but also a country that supports young talent, is continuing to attract more attention to the sporting world. When we come back, as we finalize this sports edition of On the Spot, great news is Manipaqiao versus Mayweather. We are likely to see them verse each other in Rwanda. Rwanda has been nominated by Lewis Hamilton himself to actually be among the countries they could consider hosting the Formula One in Africa. When we are back, we're going to be talking the history and the future of Rwanda's sporting world. Welcome back to Yet on the Spot. Here we are discussing what is eating Rwanda's sports. Yet it is at the edge of thriving with international people seeing Rwanda as a tour, not only as a tour destination, but also as a sporting destination. Being one of the things that nearly came to Rwanda was the World Veterans Cup. Interesting. That will be a topic for another day. Why it didn't come? That is a topic for another day. But currently, we have been hosting the pre-qualifying tournament for the World Cup basketball tournament, where we saw great teams like Senegal, Great Britain, Philippines, Lebanon flying down here in Kigali to play the games. But let's begin with Mayweather coming to Kigali. All in the rumors, yet to be confirmed the date. And hot enough is that Manipaqiao is likely to have him on a rematch. An amazing match that happened back in the year 2014 and 2015 that actually brought the entire world at a standstill, that some of the people across the globe couldn't sleep. Is it yet to happen again in Rwanda? Innocent, what does this mean for the Rwandan sporting world, particularly the Rwanda as a destination for sports, like you said, infrastructure-wise, management-wise, but also for the boxing world in Rwanda?
Thank you so much. Actually, we've talked about a lot of discipline, football, the sports discipline. We forgot also to talk about, we didn't mention Tour du Rwanda. One of the biggest championship that takes place in Rwanda. The cycling across the country, where we find thousands of Rwandans excited, happy, riding up on the road to witness these cyclists from all over the world, from France, from America, from UK, United Kingdom, from Belgium, from South Africa. They are all over the place. Last time I met them in Musanze district, I was privileged to see them there. They go to Rubavu, they go to Karongi, Rusizi. Rwanda has got beautiful roads, landscapes where they go up the mountains and come down on the slopes. I think that's one of the things that attracts them. So that is also another international tournament that takes place in Rwanda. Now coming to boxing, that is another international match, adding to the long list of existing matches that are taking place in Rwanda. We have seen basketball, international basketball, football, we have seen volleyball, we have seen cricket. So now we are also having boxing coming in. And then boxing for big names. Mayweather and Manipaqiao. Those are big names. Those are Americans for those who do not know them. But I think everybody knows those guys. So they will be in Rwanda. Though the dates are not yet confirmed, but what is confirmed, they'll be here. Expected probably to be in Kigali Arena, BK Arena. And again, it comes to the efforts of the government to build modern structures. So those people are coming because of maybe 2 or 3 reasons that I'm going to tell you. The first reason is they are coming because Rwanda is a secured country because of the security.
It's a safe country.
It's a safe country to host such international games, such international people. So people, they know they are safe. That's why they cannot go to Senegal. They cannot go to Somalia because they know there's no security. They cannot go to Khartoum. They choose to come to Kigali. That's number one. Number two, they also choose to come here because of the modern infrastructure that attracts them. I always talk about this point. Once these infrastructures are put in place, we attract such big tournaments, and once these big tournaments come in, they bring in players, technical benches, those are technical staff, medical staff, coach, and all those people coming with the players. So those people are going to accommodate into our hotels. So our hotels will make money. That means the forex is coming in. When the hotels have customers, automatically it means that they are buying things from the market. Our farmers are getting money. The farmers who have cultivated fruits, vegetables, they'll be selling to those hotels.
The drivers of the cars.
The drivers of the cars. So all those, these young girls saving into protocol, receiving them, all those, a lot of money will come into
in the
circulation. So that is also another initiative, another good policy that the government puts in place to make sure that the Rwandan people makes money through these, they make money through these games. Though people might think they don't make money because this money doesn't come direct to them. A national team cannot come and give innocent money direct. It comes indirect. If I have a chicken land where I have 1,000 chickens and the Marriott Hotel, Serena Hotel, or let's say Lemigo Hotel, they decide to buy those chickens from me, that means they are buying the chickens for the players. That means that I'm getting the money from that hotel. The hotel got the money from that team, from that foreign team. The money comes to me indirect. That's why it comes to me indirectly, but it reaches me. That is an indication of good policies. So coming of Mayweather and Paqiao, it's a good and a big achievement for a country like Rwanda, a country that is developing, a country that has history which everyone knows of the genocide against Tutsi, a country that had bad politics of division and hatred before 30 years ago, and in 30 years it's the same country that is able to host such international games. It's a plus for the government of Rwanda, it's a plus for the government of RPF, it's a plus for the Rwandan people. Because now the name of Rwanda as a small nation in the East Africa, it will no longer be a small nation in East Africa. It now becomes a big name, it becomes a big Rwanda sitting on a high table. As His Excellency have always said, his wish is to see Rwandans sitting on table d'honneur, sitting on a high table. So Rwanda hosting such international games, now going to boxing, international boxing, it automatically Rwanda is now gone to sit on a high table. Rwanda's name has been now lifted.
Interesting.
Yes.
How about we talk about the rumors as we conclude, Innocent? The rumors of Lewis Hamilton considering and verging for Rwanda to be among the countries of destination for Formula One in Africa.
Thank you so much. I think Lewis Hamilton did write that on his Twitter account. Those who want to can go and check. So that is another, probably that is his opinion, that is his wish. But I wouldn't be surprised if it worked, because we have seen these other initiatives working. We have seen international basketball coming here. We have seen international cricket coming here. We have seen international Tour du Rwanda coming here. We have seen international...
the World Cup veterans was near coming.
We have also seen the boxing of Mayweather and Paqiao coming in. So even this one can also come in.
Well, That makes me want to suggest the places of where this Formula 1 track could be. How about Bugesera? If not, Gabiro. The people in the East definitely would want to host this one, but we are yet to see how fruitful this can be. Of course, it's an epitome of how the new Minister of Sports can be a lobbyist at the Formula 1 table. Thank you for keeping it on the sport. It's UKWELI time always. My name is Bright Bashir. I'm always hosting Innocent Habumujisha, and adios.